Hello, everybody. Welcome into Wednesday edition of the Computer America Show. We got a terrific show planned for you. Sandy Berger is going to be here with us for both hours, talking about all the cool things that she finds on the internet and technology and you name it. It's going to be a fun show. So sit back, relax as we bring to you 2 hours of the Computer America Show in about 15 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. It's hump day. And we're halfway through the week. And hopefully everything's going well for you. We've got a terrific show planned for you. 2 hours of Computer America coming straight at you right here. Both hours, Sandy Berger is going to be joining us. She is our consumer electronics expert, and she's got some really cool things to talk about for both hours. And Sandy's always a lot of fun, and she's going to be joining us again for hour 1 and hour 2. If you have a comment or question for anything we're talking about, give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. If you don't want to go on the air, you're a little radio shy, that's okay. You can head over to ComputerAmerica.com, and any page there, any page at ComputerAmerica.com, the upper right-hand corner, you'll see it says Submit a Question. It's a link. Just click it. You'll go to our question submission page. You can type in your comment, questions, suggestions, anything you like. Hit the Submit button, and Ben and I will see what you've typed instantaneously. It's an amazing thing. The other thing you can do, and we highly recommend, is watch our live video stream. I realize we're a radio talk show, but it's the 21st century, and we now offer live video streaming of our radio broadcasts. Again, head over to ComputerAmerica.com, any page, right there on the menu bar, it says Show Lounge. Just click it. You'll be taken to our live video streaming page. You'll be joined to the show already in progress. You'll get to see everything. You'll get to see Sandy. You'll get to see Ben. Ben also has the technology to display websites, videos, movies, links, everything we're talking about today. You'll get to see it on our live video stream. Matter of fact, everything we do is at ComputerAmerica.com, which is the internet home of our radio broadcast. Let me just do a couple other things here, and we'll get Sandy on the show. One of the things that I like about Sandy Berger is that she, when she likes something, she's going to tell you if she likes it, and if she doesn't like something, she's going to tell you that too. You're going to get the real scoop. I mean, she's not being paid to review these products. These are true editorial reviews that she does, and if she doesn't like it, she'll tell you why as well. So we get the real scoop. Also, the other thing that we invite you to do is download the cheat sheet. Sandy takes the time to prepare a document that you can see. Again, just head over to ComputerAmerica.com. You'll see right there it says Computer Electronics Expert Sandy Berger. Just click on it, and you'll see a link there that says Cheat Notes. You can't miss it. And it will open up a Google Docs document when you click it, and then you can see the document she's prepared. And the document is really great because you can also see pictures, the descriptions of everything we're talking about, plus the links are there too. So you can actually click on the links and if you want to see more about the items. And so she prepares that, and we invite you to follow along with what we're doing here at Computer America. It just makes it a lot more fun and a lot more interactive. So that said, anything you want to mention before we get Sandy on the program, Ben?
Anything to mention? No, I know that we had a really good show yesterday. in the second hour we had a lot of great news stories, and in the first hour I'm completely drawing a blank. I think we had on Nuance. There we go. My bad. Yeah, Nuance. They make the Fire Dragon product, but of course they were on talking about their corporate side.
And then we're talking about. I wonder if Sandy knows about Nina. We'll have to ask her.
Nina, probably not, but I think it was very interesting. It's about technology that companies behind the scenes are going to be implementing, and even you yourself will probably be interacting with them. If you know the application Dom from Domino's, the artificial intelligence that can help you order a pizza, then that is essentially Nuance and what they're doing, and a pretty good segue into exactly what it is that they're attempting to do. So go, feel free to check that out. It was very, very interesting. But no, you said a mouthful, and I think Sandy's waiting patiently. So I say we just get to it.
Okay, well, as I said, joining us today is Sandy Berger. She is a consumer electronics expert, well versed in things like printers and cell phones and digital cameras and other devices like that. Her website is CompuKiss.com, and she also writes for Hardware Secrets too. Okay, and she's one of our Computer America correspondents who appears here on the show on a monthly basis. Sandy, welcome to Computer America. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Craig.
And thanks so much for being here. Yeah, you're here every second Wednesday of the month.
Right.
Second Wednesday of the month. And Sandy appears here. So
mark your calendars.
Yeah, mark
That's right. Exactly. I have to mark my calendar so I don't forget, so you guys might as well mark yours too.
So anyhow, as I said, we have the cheat notes that you can see, or you can download the actual cheat notes themselves and kind of follow along all the different things that we find. Now, I know you are a huge Alexa fan, Alexa being the voice for the Amazon Echo.
Right.
I'm just curious, have you heard of Nina, which is the...
I have, actually. I've heard of it, and I know, there's a lot of voice activation and robotics coming online right now from all different areas.
Yeah. Well, we have Siri, we have Alexa, we have Cortana, we have Google now. I mean, now we have all these different voices that are being billed as digital assistants, and they are, quite frankly, and they're becoming better and better and better at how well they understand their cognitive ability, the artificial intelligence, whatever it is that's behind it. That are getting very, very accurate, and they can activate more things and do more for you, and make reservations and get you pizzas and who knows what. I mean, they are capable of doing all this stuff. Nina is not really a voice that's available to the general consumer. I think it's to companies like Domino's or banks or stuff that want to have some sort of voice interaction available for their clients, or their company or their customers, right? So, but we're seeing.
And one of the biggest ones that's going to be coming online in the next few months is Google's Assistant. This is not the Google Now that we know now. This is a new assistant that they're having that in their chat room and different areas in texting, it's going to be super intelligent is what I'm told. And the reason it's going to be super intelligent is because they're using all the data Google has accumulated in all the years they've been doing search to make this voice smarter and smarter. So that assistant I'm really anxiously waiting for.
It sounds like Google has an unfair leg up on the other ones because of what it is that they do, and they have all these databases.
That's right.
It's interesting that we're going to see things like that. Now, is this new version going to replace Google Now? This new assistant?
I believe it will, but I'm not absolutely positive of that. What they're using it for, did you see the announcement on their Google Home?
No, I did not see it.
It's called, I should have looked it up. I think it's called Google On.
All right. I mean, I can go to google.com.
Yeah, you can find it. They had their last...
Is it the On Hub?
The On Hub is what we're going to be talking about in a few minutes.
Okay, right. Okay.
But this is Google Home. It's where Alexa is a cylinder that's like 9 inches tall and round. This one is shorter and stubbier at the bottom, and it looks kind of like an air freshener. The shape of it reminds me of an air freshener.
Maybe it is an Earth person.
But she's supposed to be coming online before the end of the year, and Google is, of course, saying that she's going to be able to do a lot more than Alexa. So we're going to see what happens there, but that's going to be extremely interesting.
Have they picked a name for this system, or is it just going to be
Yes.
Google?
No, they have picked a name for it. See if I can find it. I actually wrote about it.
Huh.
But I write so much, sometimes I can't remember what I wrote about, which is really terrible.
It's a digital amnesia we were talking about the other day.
Digital amnesia. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, while Sandy tries to find the name of the Google's assistant, is it going to be male or female, or we don't know?
I believe it's going to be female. At least that's how it sounded when.
Why? They're all coming out with female. Siri's female, Alexa's female.
Well, Siri, you can do male too.
Well, yeah, you can, but basically, Siri is a female persona. You can change the voice. That's true, but let's
see, what is it? Men like talking to women, so that's why they make them sound like women, and then women find women voices less, less threatening, more relaxing, what have you. Just no one in general really likes the male voice screaming at them. It's like, hey, you got an appointment. Chop chop. People don't like that.
Okay, I found it. It's actually going to be called Google Home.
Google Home.
Google Home, and their assistant is called, believe it or not, Google Assistant.
That's so
Fancy.
innovative.
What looked innovative at the Google press conference was a new messaging app called Ello, which I thought was kind of cute, like hello, only A-L-L-O.
That's the English version. Hello.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cute. But anyway, this is going to be like a conversational assistant, and it's going to have a massive amount of machine intelligence, so it's going to be able to hold a conversation with you.
I think they should have called it Jarvis.
Jarvis.
Everybody wants a Jarvis. Ever since you watch any of the Marvel movies with Iron Man,
That's a good idea.
That would be cool. I get now.
Cortana got her name from a game.
Halo, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So maybe somebody will do that. But
someone wrote a story just not too long ago saying that I want Jarvis. It was the name of the title of the story.
Cute. Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. Anyhow, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started and talk about all these great things that you found for us. And again, you can see these all in the cheat notes at computeramerica.com. Or if you're listening to us via Blog Talk Radio, the link there, we also have the cheat notes link on the Blog Talk Radio site at Computer, where you're listening to the Computer America Show. It's all available. So, okay, so we're going to start off with a hub, okay, and this hub evidently it's a router.
It's a wireless router.
Yeah, it's called the OnHub router from ASUS. Now, you think of ASUS, I think motherboards. So this is a little departure.
Oh no, they make some excellent routers.
They do. Okay.
Yeah, if you haven't looked at any recently, I have, and I know they make some very good routers. So
I'm a Netgear guy. What can I tell you? I like Netgear.
I kind of used to be. And yet, I think that ASUS and some others have surpassed what they're doing. So that's just my own opinion.
Okay, well let's talk about. We're going to be talking about the SRT-AC1900.
Which is also called OnHub.
OnHub, the OnHub router.
Now, I have to explain. OnHub is a Google router. This is the router that Google announced maybe 6 months ago that they were coming out with this totally unique, futuristic router. And the first company to come out with it, I believe, was TP-Link. And they have their own version. ASUS then came out with their version. So there's two companies that have OnHubs. Right. And again, the first thing you're going to see when you look at these is they are black cylinders, kind of like the Echo. It looks a little wider at the bottom.
It reminds me of an Echo, except instead of being blue, it's green. On the light is green rather than...
The light is when everything is working fine, it's like a turquoise blue. Yeah. The light is at the bottom. On the On the TP-Link one, the light is at the top, and the top is a little bit broader than the bottom. But basically, they're like thick cylinders, and they're black. I think that this Asus one comes in blue as well.
Well, yeah. Now they have. I see what it is. They got two different models. The one by manufacturer, it looks like the one from TP-Link. They took the one manufactured by Asus and turned it upside down.
Turned it upside down, exactly.
Not quite, but it could almost be. You know.
I know. They are actually very similar, and after we explain what this is all about, we can go into the differences a little bit.
Okay. All right.
But basically, you know, this looks nothing like all the routers that we've had with flashing lights and antennas sticking out everywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's totally different. And the idea here is that this should go in the middle of your home. This should be the hub, which is why they call it on hub, I assume, to be put in a centralized location in your home.
All right.
That is very futuristic. And the reason that I find that very futuristic idea is that very, very few people have their, either wiring coming up in the middle of the house. So the hub, the router, has to be attached to a modem. But how many people have their modem cable coming in the middle of the house? Very few.
Yeah, very few.
Usually they put it in a back room someplace because up till now all this stuff has been really ugly to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the first thing about it, is that even though it's meant to be in the center of the house, it's probably not going to be. It's going to be wherever you have your modem cable coming in.
Yeah, and again, it looks like this little black. It's not quite a cylinder. It's very stylish. Although the one from TP-Link.
See, you guys are saying cylinder. I think it looks like the cooling tower of a nuclear plant, and
yeah,
it does.
Yeah. So. But the TP-Link version, they have limited edition shells available.
Yes, they do, and I haven't seen any shells for this Asus version. Maybe they haven't, but I haven't seen any. You're right. The TP-Link version has the shells, and the Google Home is also going to have shells, so that you can give it different looks, different textures, different colors.
Yeah, they have like a wood, so it has like a wood finish. Then they have one with a very stylish, like white with a gold angled at the bottom, or black with a silver. So I guess you can kind of customize it to maybe make it blend in more. Although it's kind of hard to be blending in because this unusual looking.
It stands out, but it stands out in a good way.
It does. I actually have mine in a small bedroom that I have in the front of the house, and that just is where my modem came in. And so now I used to have it like the router and all the cables on the table way in the back, and now I was able to bring it out toward the front, and it sits there and nobody questions what it is or what it does. It just looks decent.
I have a question. Has Alexa tried to strike up a relationship with it? Because it looks
not yet.
No, okay.
I'm waiting for that.
Okay.
We can talk Zigbee later because Alexa is Zigbee.
Okay.
That's all right.
So, and getting into some of the specs, I mean, it's very stylish. You could definitely put it where you want it, but this is, like you said, the first offering that Google putting out a router, and Asus is very good at routers. They've done it for a while, but how does the Google one stand up? Like hardware-wise, is it price is it price similar to
I'll
others?
tell you, yeah. This OnHub, the Asus OnHub router, and the same goes for the TP-Link, is very stable, very powerful. Actually, I'm loving the thing. I mean, it's got so many additional features. Maybe we should get through, though, the one big drawback that it has. And it's a drawback for some people, not for everyone. But that is it has only 2 ports, Ethernet ports on it, your LAN and your WAN, so your cable going in and coming out. That's it.
All right.
So the assumption here on the part of Google or Asus is that actually everything in your house is going to be wireless and is going to connect to this router wirelessly. And in my home, that's not the case, and I'm sure some other homes it's not the case. Certainly your TV and your Xbox and all that would hook up wirelessly. But I have 2 computers that are wired. I have an UMA that is wired, and I have a Philips hub that is wired. That's 4 things right there that I need to plug into my router.
Uh-huh.
The solution, obviously, is you get a switch. And instead of, the switch goes into one of those cable openings, and depending if you have a 4 switch or an 8 switch, you can attach as much as you want. Again, that sort of defeats the purpose of this stylish looking thing because you still have a switch with some lights and cables running out of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're into the aesthetics of this, then that would make a difference. If you have let's say you have a separate table and you have the on hub on this table, and you have your UMA sitting next to it, and you have your a number of these devices, which are kind of stylish. I mean, the UMA is a nice looking thing, and on top of which you really do need it has that panel on it which you can touch to do things. And just sort of make that your technology feature table or something, and put them all there.
Without a doubt, you can do that. What I've done on mine is I put the hub to the front and put the switch and these other devices to the back, and you hardly even notice it's on like a credenza. So you don't see all these cables and wires and things like that. The hub just has the 2 wires. That's it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But I do like that you can hook a switch up to to one of the ports and obviously get more ports, because I know that at least here in my house we have 4 extra ports and all of those are taken up. So I get, because most of Google's offerings that they sell between phones and Chromebooks and and tablets and the like, they're all wireless. So I can see why they really don't prioritize having those extra ports built in.
Right, and let's face it, the future is wireless.
Yeah.
All the newer devices are wireless, but you will come across some that are, you'll have to plug in, and that's okay too.
That is the future, but the future is also contingent on routers like this getting rid of dead spots, because those are awful.
That's why I like this router. So many times you get a router and you've got some thick walls in your house, or you've got certain jagged walls or whatever, and you just can't get your Wi-Fi in the basement or in the attic or whatever. This device has 7 different antennas, and it's a dual band. I should say it's a dual band AC router, just so that everybody knows that. But it's got these 7 antennas, and the thing that it's got is the smart prioritizing of the antennas. So basically, it goes out and it sees you've got a laptop in the farthest room. A certain set of antennas might be reaching out for that laptop, where your cell phone, which is right by the router, will use different antennas. And it has made a huge difference in my house. It's just, usually you wind up with a router and then an extender. I don't believe you'll ever need an extender with this router.
Really? So it has wonderful penetration, and obviously with the antennas, they're not bristling out everywhere,
No. I mean, if you go to the ASUS or to the Google website, you will see the inside of what it is, how the antennas work, and it's really, I think it's quite amazing the way they've done this. They say that the Wi-Fi speeds of this are up to 1900 millibytes per second, which is quite good. They also have a feature where it can change the channels. So it checks the channels every 5 minutes or something like that to see, like your channels can get overloaded. So it checks the channels and then readjusts everything so that you're always on the best channel. So if there's any congestion on the network, that takes care of that. It's got just a lot of features like that. Now, I just found it to be the best. One major feature, Ben, how you take a router and you set it up through an IP address, right? Not this one.
Right.
You set it up with your cell phone.
Really?
Yes.
I'm looking at the picture of the cell phone itself. So what? There's an actual app that comes with this?
There's an app called, I think it's called the On app, and that app will help you set it up. I actually had to call Google. I had to call Google with a question, and they were wonderful. I mean, they called me back. They were just excellent knowledge on what this router can do and all that.
Do they
So
have people at Google, or is it all just automated phone tree solutions?
I got right to a person.
Really?
And the number was in the package, in the box with the hub. And I talked to people. They called me back. We went back and forth with conversation. I called them back to ask them some questions about some of the things we'll be talking about later, and they were wonderful about it. I mean, I would say if you're afraid of setting up a router, this is a good way to go because it's very easy to set up on your cell phone, and also the tech support was really great.
Yeah, it looks like they give you a nice, simple interface.
Mm-hmm.
Allows you to access everything. You can download it from the App Store or the Google Play Store, but basically,
it's Android and Apple both.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, stupid question, but if you have an Apple phone, does it work?
Yes,
that's good.
It does, and I did all my setup and everything from the Apple. The other thing that's really neat about it is you can automatically see all the devices that are on your network, and that was an eye-opener for me because my old router was going out. I knew it needed to be replaced because I had to reset it twice a day.
Yeah.
And got this router set up, haven't had to reset it or do anything, gives me better coverage, etc., etc. But when I turned on the app and I pressed on devices, it said, you have 15 devices attached. And that's when I knew that's why I needed a new router. Because I had 15 devices attached. Now, it tries to name all the devices, and for the most part it does very well, like the Xbox, the iPhone, the Android phone, all of those, my Epson printer, my HP printer, everything came up with names or recognizable names.
That's nice.
There's a couple things that you might have to name. It even found my Philips Hub and named it. It found the Amazon Echo and named it. And then there's a few things that maybe out of the 15, I had 2 or 3 things that didn't have a name that were attached. Then you have to do a little Sherlock Holmes hat thing and figure out what was on there. One of my printers was not on there. It's easy to figure that out because you can use. It also shows you the usage. So if you've got a device that has no name, you just use the suspected device and don't use any other devices, and then you see that that's the one that's been used, and you know that that's what it is.
And then you can name it at that point? And
you can rename it at that point.
Yeah. Are we talking about the SSID or something?
No, I think that it came up with the IP address.
IP.
So on some things like a printer, you can print out the IP address and see if that's your printer or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But again, you see it all. It looks like you're seeing everything graphically. It kind of lays everything out for you. It's
very easy to understand. Now, if you're really into routers and router setups, and you can bridge on this one too, but if you're into bridges and all this other stuff, and you want to tweak your settings, this is not the router for you.
It really didn't seem like the way that you said of all the features that Google does a really good job of automating a lot of these features. You know, switching devices to different channels and seeing where everything is physically. Right. I mean, that's the first time I've heard of a router doing that. But it seems like Google is taking a lot of the guesswork, and this seems like a good. I just need a router and I don't want to mess with it. So let's go with the Google router.
For the average person, it's a great router. Now, the Asus one has one feature that the TP-Link one does not have, and that is called, I think they just call it Wave. And what it is you can wave your hand over the top of it to prioritize a certain device. Now, you actually set up the priorities in the app. So that means if you're going to watch Netflix for 2 hours, and in the past you've had trouble getting a constant connection for Netflix, you can prioritize that just with the flip of your hand across the top. You don't touch you just wave your hand over it, and it will prioritize that for as long as you like. You can set it, I think, for 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, And that will give priority to Netflix, so that you get a clear signal. I mean, they've put some really great features in here, and as far as I can see, they all work well.
Now that was that. You go figure. I mean, why would they do that with the Aces and not the Google?
Well, now I haven't looked. I've looked at the TP link, but I haven't looked at it in detail.
Okay.
I'm assuming that you can probably set priority settings in it as well.
Well, during the break, why don't you check that out?
All right.
I'm talking to Sandy Berger, 347-884-8881. It's both hours with Sandy. We'll continue on with her right after these words.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Oh, heck, he was so fat I bet it took him 2 trips to go through a revolving door. I'm Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin review of the Klein Tools low-voltage fish rod set. Now think about the patch bays and racks you've had of wire with places so skinny arms and hands just can't get through. The Klein Tools polymer fish rod set has 4 rods, different types: round rigid, round semi-rigid, flat semi-rigid, and round glow-in-the-dark. Each is 14 inches long, with one end threaded male, the other a mating female. It also has 5 glow-in-the-dark ends: mini eyelet, domed eyelet, bullet, hook, and claw. Different ways to grab wires. Bottom line, when the wire you have to place is in way too skinny a space, a Klein Tools polymer fish rod set can make running that wiring a lot less tiring. Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 30 minutes past the hour, and that was Marty Winston with a News Tip Bulletin review. Thank you for that, and we'll have a new one of that next week. But all week you get that one. So here in actually in both hours, we have Sandy Berger joining us, and she's a Computer America correspondent as we talk about products that she's reviewed over the last month. And right now we are on the OnHub router, which is by Google, but obviously manufactured by a couple other people because Google, not really in the hardware business. They're more software and pushing ads to you side. So yeah, and that I think would be one of the immediate kind of knee-jerk reactions is that does this router kind of come with any kind of gotchas like, oh, it's by Google, so now every page of your router is going to have an ad on it? Like, are there any gotchas, or is it just a good router?
I haven't seen any gotchas.
Okay.
I haven't seen ads any place or anything like that. Although, you never know what's coming next. And that's that's the other thing about this router. You know, the thing that I liked about the Echo, Amazon Echo, when it first came out, is that they announced it was going to be constantly learning and getting better at no extra cost. And that's what Google did with this router. They announced that it's going to be constantly getting better. They're adding new features all the time. And if you look at it, you'll see that it has a USB 3 port that's not used. So hopefully that will be turned on in the future for some reason. The hardware is powerful enough to support a lot of other things. It's Bluetooth Smart ready. It's Weave ready. Well, Weave would be tied in with 802.15.4, which is a wireless thing that's going to support a lot of home devices in the future, and that is Zigbee, which is what Alexa runs on. But in any case, it's got all these things that hardware and software-wise, where it's going to be getting better and better with age, and I think that's a fantastic idea. And I could buy a router today that keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, it seems to be every tech company's dream to be that one tech company that you buy something, and obviously this thing being called the On Hub, everyone hopes to be the center of what we're calling, of course, the connected home. They're hoping, Google was hoping that, oh, well, we bought Nest for $18 billion quadrillion dollars, so the Nest is going to be the center of it. And then they're like, no, that's not going to work. But and then of course Amazon hoping that Alexa is going to be the center of your smart home and everything's going to be controlled through that. So we're seeing more and more of these products that are meant to be front and center, right next to you, and you can control them simply through voice commands and other things like that. So I can see Google really trying to position this, and I guess it's good to kind of get where Google, the company, is coming from by producing something like this. They really want to be front and center when everything talks on the internet and you have to communicate with it. Google wants it to be their product that you interface with.
That's right, and they're by making it Weave ready and 802.15.4 ready. That means that in the future they're going to be able to use this hub to connect to many, many different in-home devices. They have already added things in the past month or two. They added a guest network, which they didn't have originally, and that has an on.here interface. And that means that you can go inside your router setup and you set up a guest network, and then you tell the guest network what devices you want to let your guests use. You want to let them use your smart TV, you want to let them use your printer, but maybe you don't want to let them use your iPhone. So basically you set that up, and then it's an online thing where they can just go on here and they can see which devices they're able to use when they're at your house. The other thing that they've added is something that you guys know we've talked about before that I really like, is IFTTT.
Yes, ma'am.
More people are calling it IFT now, but I have a little trouble with that.
Explain it for
Well, their website now I think is like ift.tt or something like that.
Yeah, well, why don't you explain to our listeners?
Their new marketing campaign is ift.tt.
Right. And IFTT, what what is it for? Tell us, our listeners, what it's all about and why, and how supporting it is a good thing on this.
Well, IFTTT, what it has is what they call recipes, and these are pre-made, and these connect the various devices in your home or in your computer. And so for instance, through IFTTT, whenever I play a new song, I have Alexa play a new song for me, my hue light will change colors. I didn't have to do any programming. I just go to IFTT's website and pick a recipe that I like. Every time I add a contact to my Google Contacts, it also adds it to a spreadsheet that I've created. So there's all sorts of things that you can do. When I first said IFTTT with a router, what could that possibly do? But if you start to think about it, there's a lot it could do. So if your son or daughter comes home, they're going to have their cell phone with them when they come in the door, and the cell phone connects to the network. The router can actually send you an email, and all that's done through IFTTT.
It's IFT, by the way, the official thing. It's like
Name is IFT.
IFT.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it just makes it a lot easier to say. But yeah, basically, it allows you to create these, simple commands called recipes. So
Right.
And for everyone out there who has any even rudimentary programming skills, I mean, I learned this in like 7th grade. Well, yeah, 7th grade. If this, then that. Those are pretty basic programming terminology. So if something happens, then this happens. So that's what the recipe comes from. Very simple to think of 1,000 uses for. Well, if the car pulls up and and the car connects to Wi-Fi for whatever reason, a car has to connect to Wi-Fi nowadays. Then tell someone. There's 1,000 uses for all these devices that are connecting and disconnecting.
Exactly. So if I pull up in my driveway and it's after dark, the lights will turn on in the house.
Exactly.
Because it's an if Sandy pulls up in the driveway, then turn the lights on. And you can set these up, and I think it's phenomenal. I'll have to think of more and more ideas for using it with the router, but again, they keep adding new things, and I was really surprised the other day when I got a monthly update from Google on my Hub. The monthly update said, "Hey, you seem like you're doing really well with your router's doing really well," and it gives you the speed of your network for the past month, which you can also see in the on Hub itself. In the app, you can go in and look at how fast and what's connected and things like that. But they send you a monthly update, so I'm assuming they're also going to send me an update when they add something new, which I'll be anxiously awaiting.
I mean, they give you a lot of examples with IFT. I mean, for example, if you want to know when your child gets home from school, you'd set up a recipe that says, if my child's device connects to my OnHub, then send me an email. That's it. In other words, it's really simple to do. You can.
Well, and I think from a security standpoint, that makes complete sense. Not security as I personally believe most kids are capable of getting themselves home, but security standpoint of if an unknown device connects to my Wi-Fi, send me an email.
Right.
Security-wise, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I'm sure there's other ideas for what to do with it, and these just will show up as recipes in the IFTTT site.
And the idea is you go to ifttt.com, and by the way, it's completely free. You connect to the OnHub channel that's in it, and then basically register, and you're set to create these recipes that are very easy to do.
And folks listening out there, you should really just get IFTTT just for yourself, because I don't have the OnHub or anything like that, but I use IFTTT for some things here on the show, and I use it just in my daily life. It really is a great service.
What do you use it for in your daily life?
I am terrible with my emails, so if I get an email, then it sends me a push notification to my phone, like through an app I have. I also use it for kind of like you with your spreadsheet and your scheduling, but for the show, I sometimes use it. So-and-so just changed an appointment, so send me an email, and then that email gets sent through a push. Just little bells and whistles that go off throughout my day are all powered by IFTTT.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have one that sends me all the New York Times technology articles when they reach a certain popularity. So when so many people look at it that it's considered a popular article, then it sends that to my email, and I can read the article and see what everybody's reading without actually going. I can do that on Twitter and Facebook, and I know that. But this makes it much easier to see what's coming and going. So there's a lot of applications for it.
Yeah, really. And again, I just went to the website, check out. They have a whole bunch of examples that you can set up there. They actually have some recipes already set up that you can just literally. It's like going to looking for plugins for your browser, or
Exactly.
You
And I don't want people to ever be afraid of it because you don't have to do any coding. These are pre-made for you, and there's enough pre-made ones that you don't want to do any coding.
yeah.
Right.
They have let eBay. You can have it set up so eBay deals come to you. You know, you can set up simple searches for whatever you're looking for, baseball cards, furniture, whatever it is you're looking for, and it will actually notify you. I mean, you can track your purchases. You can follow the latest electronics. You get deals in your neighborhood. I mean, these are all little plugins that you have, and they're different categories. Connect your home, be more productive, stay healthy, keep in touch, news alerts. And they have all these.
And now IFTTT supported by OnHub. Getting back to the router because I feel like we've deviated to.
We have deviated, but I didn't ever think I'd see a router that supported IFTTT. And here it is, and it's got some useful things already, and there's more useful things coming. So it's totally amazing. The firmware will also be updated, just like the Echo. Is updated regularly without you doing anything.
That's
so
nice.
You'll get security updates and all the latest features and everything, and they'll just be there, which I really like as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And of course, it goes without saying, but 802.11 AC, so you'll be future-proof for a couple of years, hardware-wise.
Hardware, yeah, I think the hardware is very strong, and this. ASUS says that, from what I can see, it says that it has 7 antennas, and the TP-Link has like 12 or 13 antennas. And that is one thing that I noticed a big difference in. But yet, when I went to places that did speed tests and compared the two of them, they were pretty similar. And
but obviously there's some radical design differences because you have a device that has 7 or 8 antennas and the other one's got 12.
But the number is not always what it's all about with antennas. You can have a certain type of antenna. I know that the TP-Link has a front-facing antenna, so that I guess you could direct it to a certain device, but I didn't find that very useful.
So, bottom line is, how do you know which one's better, or is there no better to these?
Well, if you really want to look into it, you can look at some of the websites that actually do strength and different reliability and all those ratings. I think that on one that I read, the ASUS. The TP-Link was slightly better on the 2.4 network, but the ASUS was slightly better on the 5 network. And so, you're going to see these little differences. After researching it pretty thoroughly, I think they're both, I would buy either one, to be honest with you.
Okay. They sell for the same price?
They're both selling for about $200, but I have seen the ASUS like $50 off at Best Buy last month, and I've seen more sales on it than I have on the TP-Link. That doesn't mean that that's how it'll be for the next month. Next month, the other one might be on sale.
Well, that's the strength of Google marketing.
Or ASUS marketing, because I've definitely heard of TP-Link and I've definitely heard of ASUS, but I think ASUS has much more shelf space and presence of mind.
And when I contacted TP-Link, because the next product that we're going to talk about is a TP-Link product, and they said that Google is doing all the promotions and reviews and everything for the OnHub.
So it doesn't sound necessarily that they're competing with each other. Was it serendipitous that these both came out at the same time, or
They did not come out at the same time. The TP-Link came out first, and then the ASUS one came out after that, and a couple months between the two of them.
But they're made by whom? Are they actually? They're not. Google actually doesn't make hardware.
Google does not make the hardware. No, ASUS is making the hardware, and TP-Link are making the hardware.
Okay, and so ASUS and TP-Link, again, the fact that they came out with both of these at the same time, was it coincidence, or I just want to find out, what the process was.
Okay, Google announced the OnHub maybe 6 months ago, so maybe they already had it in the churning, getting ready to go out a year ago. I don't know. But if 6 months ago they announced it, and then 3 months after that, TP-Link announces theirs, and 4 months or 5 months after that, ASUS announces theirs. That means that they've been working with various companies all along, because you don't come out with a device like this within a month or two.
Yeah.
So, and Google has connections, and that's one thing that they do very well, that Amazon has actually copied that. Amazon has, with their Echo, has done great on making connections with different companies and getting the companies to support the Echo, and Google is doing the same thing for their products, because they don't make their own hardware. They're reaching out to hardware people.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anything else you want to mention before we
No, just a thumbs up on this one, and I'm going to be real curious to see where it goes in the future.
Okay. All right. So again, the ASUS OnHub router and Google OnHub, you can check it out, the TP-Link. They're all there, and you can see all of them, again, the links on the cheat notes, which you can download at computeramerica.com when you go to today's show, and you can see all this for yourself. Okay. All right. This next product, again, as you say, we're going back to TP-Link, and they have something that we're going to review. There's a picture. It's called their Smart Plug HS100 and HS110. Now, what is a smart plug?
A smart plug is an internet-connected plug. And so basically, you take the plug, you plug it into the wall, and then you plug your device into it. And that makes you able to connect it over the internet. So there is an app. It's called Kaza, K-A-Z-A, I believe it is.
Is that still around? Oh,
yep.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking a different one. Yeah.
I've never heard of it before, and I just wish they had a different name, because when I think about the smart plug, I think smart plug. I think TP-Link, and I can never remember the name of the app. So that's just a personal thing. But the app works very well. The real beauty of this thing is that you don't need a hub. For a lot of switches, you've got Belkin and others that have switches that you need, or Samsung. They work the same way. They turn the device on and off through the switch, but basically you need a hub to do that. Well, with this TP-Link, you don't need a hub. All you need is this app. With the app, you can go ahead and control the device. So it's an on-off only device. So basically, lights are good for it, coffee pots, crock pots, alarm clocks, whatever you want to put into this, you can, realizing that it's just on and off for it. And the reason I make that statement is because my lights, which are connected to a hub, which is a Philips hub, and controlled by that hub, they can do percentages of brightness. So I can, and they can work with Alexa. So I can say, Alexa, turn the living room lights to 50%, and she'll do it. If I had those same lights attached to the TP-Link, I would not be able to do that, but I would be able to turn it on and to turn it off. And it works with Alexa. Now, you know how much I like Alexa. Okay, and at first, I guess you had to enable a skill in Alexa to make it work, but by the time I got my TP-Links, they were automatically connecting. So all I did was plug it in, follow a few simple directions on pressing a button or something to get it to connect to my network, and then basically I could say, Alexa, turn the living room lights on or turn the living room lights off. Oh, you give it a name besides.
Okay. Living room.
Yeah, and you can group them. So you can have 5 lights in your living room and 5 TP-Links, or a TP-Link with a surge protector, because you can use an extension cord or whatever on it, and then you can turn the lights on and off. Now, another nice thing is not only can you name them, but you can take a picture of it or an icon to represent it. If you're working, this is really good if you're working through your phone. and you're using the Kaza app to control it, you can just add a picture. You can say, okay, I'm doing the TV on mine, and take a picture of the TV, and you see what it is, and they call it TV, and you're done.
Yeah. Although I have to say, you, I understand. In other words, it turns things on and off by turning the power on and off, and for the most part, that's okay if it's a lamp. But there are some electronic devices that really, when you turn them off, they're still drawing power because they're maintaining some component of their functionality. And if you put those on this kind of a plug and you cut the power, you might lose some of that functionality.
Yes, and there's certain things that will not work with it. For instance, a television that I tried on, it was an older television, and every time that television loses the power, it has to go through the channel setup again.
Oh, I hated those. Yeah.
So this is something you don't want to put on a TP-Link.
Yeah.
You're going to find some things like that, but for the most part, it works. It works very well.
Yeah, most TVs, most devices today understand the concept of power failures, and so they're using some components that aren't affected by a loss of power and come back to their original state, whatever it is. But older devices didn't have that ability, and so
exactly.
And
I mean, to be fair, some of the stuff that you guys are talking about really should be on a surge protector instead of or better yet, an uninterruptible power supply, and not a TP-Link. Like, going through the TP-Link website, I was like, oh yeah, there are lamps and there are irons and there are kitchen appliances, like things that you don't need an uninterruptible power supply for, but it's better to know that, hey, the iron is definitely off if I have TP-Link.
Hey,
exactly. And the other thing is, Ben, that you can see that from wherever you are. So if you have an iron or a curling iron on a TP-Link, and you leave the house and say, gosh, did I leave that on or did I turn it off? You just go to the app and turn it off.
Right.
And the value of that is, I'm sure Craig remembers having to go on vacation and set little timers around the house and have the lights go on at 8 o'clock and off at 10 o'clock in one room and off, on at one certain time and off so that the house looked lived in. Mm-hmm. These things do it for you automatically. There's an away setting. It'll turn your lights or whatever you put on that away setting on and off at a certain time. As long as you put the GPS in here, you allow it to use your GPS, it will know what time it's going to get dark and what time it's going to get light in the morning, and it'll adjust your lights to that. It's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, I never put my iron on a UPS. I never. But
well, if you've burnt clothes or burnt your house down because you left the iron on, then this would be a great idea.
Now, there's two versions. There's the smart plug and the smart plug with energy monitoring.
Right.
What is the energy monitoring?
So far, we've been talking about the one they call HS100, and that sells for about $29. Mm-hmm. There's an HS110, and that sells for about $39. So for an extra $10, you get all the features, the app, and everything that was in the one we've just talked about, but it's also got energy monitoring. So it will show you all the times that you have that device on exactly how much energy it's using. And that is very valuable if you're trying to figure out why your electric bill is so high. So you can actually take the plug and move it from outlet to outlet without losing the connection, which I thought was great. And I could take the plug. What I have is I have two small kind of fireplace heaters that I use in the winter, and I've always wondered which one of those uses more electricity, because when I bought them they told me this and that and they were both great. Well, it turns out they're not both great. One uses a lot more electricity than the other, and I found that out very simply by plugging the TP-Link into the wall and plugging each of them separately, of course, into the outlet.
Now, when I'm looking at the picture you have on the sheet notes, it's got the standard socket, but when you look at the TP-Link on the website, it's all hollowed out for some reason, like there's no plug in there.
Yes, and I noticed that too, and I don't understand why, because the plugs that I was sent, both the HS100 and the HS110,
Yeah.
have that. And the only difference I would think is that if you plug something into the one that I have,
Mhm.
which is not hollowed out, it will stick out from the wall. So if you have a table or a dresser or something that you want flush against the wall, you can't really put this unit
Yeah.
in the
Although
outlet and back of it.
it looks like the plugs in the back though are circular, so it looks like it's foreign. I don't
Yeah.
know. We have to
I'm
figure.
not sure. I'm not sure about that either.
Oh,
I
well.
could
All right.
contact TP-Link and find out.
All right. When we come back, we're going to be talking about, we say, I have a robot but it doesn't do Windows. We got a robot that does Windows and a lot more. And I'm not talking about the operating system. We're talking about glass windows, a robot that cleans it. Those stories and more coming up in hour 2 with Sandy Berger. This is the Computer America Show.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we continue on with the lovely and talented Sandy Berger, our consumer electronics expert, as we talk about all these really cool things that she finds. Again, you head over to ComputerAmerica.com. Click on the Today's Show with Sandy Berger, and there's a big, you can't miss it. It says Cheat Notes. Just click on it, and it'll take you to a Google Docs document where you can see all the devices we're talking about. You can see the prices, the information, pictures, the links where you can find more information about them. And of course, if you're watching our live video stream, you can see Sandy as well as Ben, and Ben also was displaying these devices in the background as well.
By the way, before we officially move on, the TP-Link, Craig, you said you saw a version with circles, like circle plug and kind of sunken in?
Yeah, exactly.
I believe that is the European version, because they have different types of plugs.
Oh, that could be.
Well, I just looked up a video from a gentleman who actually lives over in the UK, and that is definitely the case. But I'm trying to think if the gray plug that we're seeing is kind of an adapter that they pop in for, to sell in America, and then the other one is just one that they sell in Europe. Because obviously, if you've ever been to Europe, they're insane. They don't use power like we use power, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's two different versions for two different markets. Make sure you do not buy the UK version if you're in America.
That's a good point. Very good point. And I've got to say, on your intro, I'm really impressed. Craig called me lovely.
I know. He never calls me lovely.
Yeah.
He never calls me lovely.
Thank you, Craig.
That's it. Exactly.
Oh, to get back to the TP-Link smart plug, one thing you should know is it does not work on your 5 gigahertz network. It will only work on the 2.4 gigahertz network. That was the only drawback that I saw about it.
Okay. Well,
but
again,
if you've got an on-hub, it will figure out automatically. It's a dual router, so it'll figure out automatically which one to use.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on, and I kind of teased it about a robot that is being billed as one of the first Windows cleaning robots. It's called the Echovacs WinBot 8 Windows cleaning robot. And there's two lines. Says, my robot doesn't do the dishes, and my robot doesn't clean Windows. Well, here you go. We've got one now that can clean Windows.
Well, we've got robots that can sell pizzas now, and all this other stuff. But I'm waiting for Rosie. Remember Rosie? She was the robot from the Jetsons.
Of course you know Rosie.
She did everything. That's the one I want.
Yeah.
Roomba
has a long way to go.
Yes. And this WinBot, the window cleaning robot, will initially remind you of the vacuum cleaner robot, okay? And not that it looks like that, but it acts kind of like that. So in any case,
It doesn't look like Rosie. No.
it's actually a square device, maybe 9 inches by 9 inches, and it's got a handle on it. If you first look at it, it looks like a telephone, but it's not a
Yeah, it
telephone.
looks like a phone. It does look like a phone. If I saw this on a desk, I would figure that's a phone.
Yeah, and when you see it in person, it's a little larger than that, but it still looks like a phone.
If you saw it on a desk and you said, "Oh, that could be a phone," but if you saw it crawling up the side of a window, would you still think it was a phone?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Now, there evidently this is from the company's called Echovax, and there's under the WinBot they actually have 3 different versions. They have the W7, W8, and W9, and we're going to be talking about the WinBot 8 series.
We're talking about the WinBot 8 series, right?
Yeah. What's with the 7 and the 9?
Well, the 8 series can do horizontal or vertical glass. It's got different suctions, and I don't know about the 9 because I haven't really looked at that one yet.
Okay, so we'll talk about the 8. This is called the W830 or the WinBot 8.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us about this. How does it do what it does?
Well, what it does well, but I have some caveats.
Okay.
Okay. It actually cleans the windows well, but it's a wired device.
Okay.
Where now the cleaners that you have for the floor, the robotic vacuum cleaners, they go without wires, right? Which is really nice. But this one, and they, to their credit, they give you a very long cable. And they also have a cable that you can attach like as a tether in case you're going up high or you're going outside and you want to make sure that that doesn't fall off.
Okay.
But what you wind up with is a jumble of cables and the device. And once I got the device working, what you do is you put it on the window that you want to wash. You spray the back. You put a pad on there and you spray the back with some special cleaner that they give you, and then you press the device, the 9-inch by 9-inch device on the window, and it comes with a remote control. You can press the button on the device or the remote control, and then you tell it how you want it to clean. Is it an N version or a Z? So in other words, you want it to go up and down or sideways. And it basically looks like you would see a Roomba, a vacuum cleaner. It goes wherever it thinks it needs to go to do the cleaning. And it cleaned well. It cleaned well. I didn't have any streaking. You have to have the right amount of spray on there, but it tells you how many sprays, and as long as you do that properly, I thought it cleaned the window very well. There was no streaking, but I had some problems with my guy.
Okay.
It stopped on the latch, which it's supposed to be able to recognize objects, but my windows all have latches on the top. It's like a double pane window, and they have a latch between the 2 windows. Every time it came near that latch, it stopped. It also stopped quite a few times, not just several times, quite a few times on various windows in my house. Now, my house is 25 years old, and maybe the windows aren't exactly what they should be. Maybe they're old or have glitches or whatever. But what the instructions tell you to do, if it stops on a window, you have to press the remote control to reset it, and then it tells you to press the arrow keys to avoid that area of the window. Well, that's fine if it only happens once or twice, but if you're doing that for every other window in the house, it was just very aggravating.
And what holds it? What holds it to the window?
It's got suction. Suction holds it to the window, and it's absolutely amazing. I had several people come in while I was using this device, and they all went, "Wow, look at that!" And they were just, it's totally amazing the way it cleans just like a robotic vacuum cleaner, but it stays on the window through the suction that it has. And it's smart so that if it does hit something that it can't clean, the red light comes on and it stops, but the suction doesn't stop, so it doesn't fall off or anything like that. Matter of fact, a couple times I had trouble because I had to actually turn it off when it got stuck. And if it was at the bottom of the window and the switch for the on-off switch was at the bottom, it was hard to get my finger in there. But in any case,
hopefully your windows aren't like 4 stories.
no, I live in a ranch house, but
Okay.
but I do have a lot of different panes. I counted that my windows have like 30 different panes in them. So
Sounds
just
like a pain.
yeah, just
The pain
taking
is
this
good.
device off of one window and putting it on the other, and again to do the outside of the windows because it's a corded device. I don't know. I don't think many houses have an outlet on every two corners of the house or anything like that.
It's
So
interesting.
you have to get
It's
out an extension cord
Yeah,
and hook it up.
because Roombas are all cordless. I don't think there's
Right.
no cord. So obviously, maybe it's the energy that it has to expend to keep itself suctioned to the glass would deplete a battery far more quickly than a regular Roomba.
That is my suspicion on it as well. And actually, I didn't think the instructions were very good that came with this, although it did say in there that you had to charge it up before you used it. The way it was written, I didn't see that. And I tried to turn it on. I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't work. And then I finally realized that I needed to charge it. And it took 8 hours to charge.
If it's plugged in, what are you charging? I don't get it. It's powered.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Plug it in and use it.
Yeah.
No. Plug it in, charge it for 8 hours, and then use it. Now, it did go very far. I mean, I did quite a few windows with it. So the charge lasted a while, but it's still, again, something that you're going to have to charge up.
That's
Had a
really-
couple drawbacks.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got big window panes and windows maybe that you don't want to have to reach real high for, I think this would be great, except what if it got stuck on a high, tall window and the remote wouldn't work, like happened to me once. The remote didn't work, and I had to actually get up to it and turn it off. So maybe I'm just saying it's not quite ready for prime time.
Well, and I think I remember seeing these guys out at CES actually. I remember seeing they had like a little demonstration set up and everything. But one thing to keep in mind is that, and I'm not saying this is bad because heck, we're a global economy and we can expect this. But Ecovacs, who makes this, is the #1 retailer of home automated cleaning robots in China. So despite all the white people you see all over the website, they are first and foremost, wholly invested in China, and it's bringing these alternative Chinese kind of designs to the U.S. market. If you've seen anything else, like you get a lot of stuff coming out of China that's, just like Sandy said, may not be ready for prime time. It's a very shotgun approach from them, and sometimes you don't get the best quality, like, if like the Roomba or other of these devices, China has a very good policy of copying and, kind of putting out cheaper alternatives. That's what Ecovacs kind of shouts to me, is that, they have 65% of the market share in China. They're the #1 brand, and now they're trying to expand to the U.S. market. And, they may not be the most innovative or the best at what they do, but they're probably going to be very, very affordable for what they do.
Well, if this was an inexpensive device, I might go along with that theory, but this is selling for $349. It is not a cheap device. I mean, last time I looked at the Roombas, they were $399, so it's right in that level. And I agree with what you said, and yet I have seen some Chinese devices that, like Hawaii cell phones, that are pretty darn good. And I think this device could be good with some adjustments. I just don't think it's that good right now.
Okay, so basically you're giving it a thumbs down?
I am. Mm-hmm.
Now, have you looked at, and they do have accessories for it too. They have extra pads, even an extension cord, because it's not a regular standard extension cord, so it makes it longer. You can get those. I assume you can put as many extension cords as you want on it, and then also
I used regular exterior extension cords, and it worked fine. So,
Okay.
the three prongs, which I'm assuming they would be
Okay.
using there.
And then they have also the cleaning solution. I don't
Right.
know.
Now it does come with like 3 pads, and the pads are washable, which is very nice.
Mhm.
The cleaning solution, I could probably easily use a half a bottle for my house, or maybe even a little bit more.
Can you use-
And they recommend that that's the only cleaning solution you use.
So you see the cost of disposables. Then they don't want
Right.
you to index or something, I guess.
Right. So it's not a cheap device, and they somewhere in there give you reasons why you shouldn't use certain things for cleaning sprays and stuff. But if you stick to using just theirs, then it could get a little bit more expensive.
Now, by the way, the company does make other robots. They have the D-Bot, the Atmobot, the Fambot. The D-Bot looks a lot like what a Roomba looks like. I guess they're floor robots,
Mm-hmm.
and they have different versions of those. They have they have a D series of them, so that you can really get into this.
I don't know. Just to me, like knowing where they come from in the manufacturing in China, like it really showed that their target market, like for this window cleaner, Sandy, you said for you live in a ranch-style house. You have 30 panes to all of your windows.
Mm-hmm.
That is so incredibly inefficient. When I'll be honest, I spent my whole weekend cleaning windows just this last weekend with a spray bottle and a rag and a ladder. I can do it, and that's really the only cost-effective way of doing it, even though it's annoying. And thinking about in China, where yes, I looked up these numbers. 52% of the population lives in very dense cities with high rises and apartments.
That's right.
If you can only clean your window by potentially leaning outside of your high-rise apartment and kind of potentially risking your life, this kind of a product could really appeal to you because you get to clean your window without risking your life. And hey, it's really the only way of doing it. So, like, where this comes from, this makes complete sense. But for someone here who has a house and tons of different windows, then it really becomes kind of more effort than it's actually going to give you.
The more effort, that was the point of really using this thing as more work than doing it yourself, because you still have to get up on a ladder and put the thing on the window, which kind of makes me question the idea of living in a high-rise. I mean, you're not going to be able to do the outside of the window, and if you're not within arm's length of being away from the window, you can't even use this on that because you have to physically put it on the window.
You know what? It's a shame because you see all the effort into designing something like this, and perhaps maybe these were considerations that they had even thought about when they were first developing it, and then as they were starting to make it, and then all these issues came up, but they were committed to making the original design. That could be the part of the problem. One of the things that I thought was extremely encouraging is seeing drones being used to clean windows.
Mm-hmm.
And those were a lot more. They made a lot more sense because the drone basically you could go outside, the drone would go up, would clean the window.
Right.
They had them painting. They had painting drones and they had window cleaning versions too. So I don't know if something this is an actual solution or maybe an interim product until they come up with something better.
Could be an interim product. I recently looked at a Keurig Cold. I think maybe we even talked about it.
We did.
That was for cold drinks. And when I looked at the first Keurig coffee maker, it was not very good. I mean, there were things wrong with it. Same thing with this Keurig Cold. Lots of things are wrong with it. I gave it a thumbs down without a doubt. And yet Keurig came on after 3 versions. The third version was excellent, and they came on to be really popular.
The first one, the first couple, you hit the button and it makes a loud vibration noise.
Exactly.
It's out of your teeth. And then I remember getting one of the later versions, and it was like quiet. What happened? Maybe the motors or anything, the design, they just weren't available at the time. But I've seen this happen with other products as well. Like the first two iterations were really awful, and the third one really should have been the first one, including, of course, the iPhone. My contention was like the iPhone 4 really was the first iPhone that made any sense, and then going on from
Well,
there.
the iPhone had originally had some really neat things that you were maybe willing to put up with what it didn't have because of what
Right.
it did have. But as a matter of fact, let me just say this WinBot makes quite a bit of noise too. So I'll just throw that in. And the Keurig Cold, that is one of the main problems with it. It is so loud you can't have it in the room with you.
Yeah, Ben was mentioning something that I think yesterday he was talking about that there's a product for your home that will chill drinks immediately. You were talking about it. What is that?
Wow, that's something I'm looking forward to. It's called a blast chiller. It's kind of a restaurant type tool. It's essentially a microwave, but instead of heating things up, it cools things down.
A blast chiller.
A lot of uses for that.
Yeah, I had not heard it. And it's
not like it's really used for food preparation. It's for quickly getting stuff down to a chill temperature, so bacteria and stuff doesn't kind of grow on it. So you can get like a plate of hot food down to like 34 degrees Fahrenheit in like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Can you put a can of soda in there and chill it immediately, or
extreme overkill? But yeah, why not? Sure. I mean, you can use a flamethrower to light a candle in your bedroom. Yeah, do what you gotta do.
That's the only way to light a candle is the flamethrower. Exactly.
More power to you.
Exactly. All right. So there you go for the Ecovac WinBot 8 Windows cleaning robot. Thumbs down, Sandy. Don't get it. Wait till maybe next generation or 2 generations after the 4th.
That's right.
Okay. So now for all you graduates out there, you're going to really like this one. There is a very unique way, or a tassel. I mean, the little tassels that are at the end of the graduation things. Well, Sandy's found a tassel that has a built-in cable. Why would I want a tassel with a cable in it? I don't get it.
Well, if you've ever tried to charge your phone and didn't have the charging cable with you, that's when you would need something like this. It's actually a long, it's probably 4 inches long, and it's a leather cable, tassel. It's made out of leather. And inside the leather are the charging cables. So you've got the USB on one end, and then either the Android, or in my case, this is an Apple charger. So you put this on your purse, or if you're a man, you stick it on in your car someplace, and you always have a cable with you.
Hold up, now you have a blue one.
I have a navy blue one, yeah.
Exactly. And this has the lightning connector on it?
Yep.
So the idea is that the tassel is really hiding the cables. You don't see
Exactly. You don't see it. So for a woman to have this sort of tassel on the outside of her purse or her pocketbook, you would just think it's a decoration. And yet you got your cable.
But little do they know that it's not a decoration.
That's right.
Something.
Now this is by a company called Chick Buds, and they make a lot of little power things, mostly female-oriented, like purses, but they have pocketbooks and things that men could use too, where you are sliding your device in there so it can be charged up. And but the devices that I've looked at that they make are pretty substantial, and this is $29, so it's not a cheapy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you can pay that much for a cable when you go to Best Buy or someplace like that. So.
And it wouldn't be a tassel.
It wouldn't be a tassel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I give this company credit for coming up with some unique ideas.
Yeah.
I like unique ideas.
How long is the cable itself? I mean, is it?
The cable itself is about the same length, maybe 4 inches.
Okay, so you don't really have that much. All right, so you have to.
You do not have that much, but you have enough. Say if you're in an airport or something, you can plug it in and hang your device along next to it.
And let it charge up.
And let it charge.
Okay, and that's it. Sometimes it's just a simple little idea. It's nothing involved or complicated. It's just a cable that you won't find this at Belkin or something like. Yeah, this really is a designer type of thing.
Yeah, it is, and like I said, I give them credit for coming up with a simple idea like that of a way to hide your cable.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that's some of the devices that we're talking about today, and we have some other interesting issues that we want to talk about. And this next one, I'm kind of a little hot under the collar because it actually happened to my wife, and yeah, and it was, however, I was able, she was able to recover. Well, I was able, because I did it for her. Was able to recover for it. So there was some courtesy. They at least offered a way to undo what they had done. But why don't we talk about it? The topic is Microsoft tricks users into upgrading to Windows 10. And why don't you tell us what, because I've always felt, I feel that Windows 10 is a good thing. I mean, I like Windows 10. So
well, I do too.
Break things. Yeah, it's a wonderful idea.
yeah.
No, I like Windows 10. I think it's the best operating system that Microsoft has ever come out with.
Mhm.
And I think it's the most secure operating system that they've ever come out with. But since they came out with it and made it free, there's been this big push to have people upgrade. They've got a number in mind. They want 1 billion users by a certain date or whatever. And they've invested a lot of money into this. I understand why they want everyone to upgrade. But the methodology that they're using is really bad. From the start, from day one, you would get a little pop-up that said, get Windows. And that would tell you, we want you to upgrade, and here's the reasons you should upgrade. And all you'd have to do is say, no, I don't want to upgrade, or click the X in the corner and close it, and it would go away and not bother you.
Mm-hmm.
This time what they did, this was probably, it started about a month ago, what they did is the same pop-up or a similar pop-up to the one you've seen for the past 8 months has come up on your screen, and you go and you press the X to close it, and guess what? Pressing the X means you accepted it.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on for a moment. Now, Microsoft, the people working at Microsoft, you would think are total idiots.
They're not total idiots.
They had to know by doing something tricky like that this was going to cause all kinds of backlash. Why?
This doesn't seem like a designer or a programmer, kind of thing. This seems like a marketing guy said, you know what we can do, and I bet you someone greenlit it in the higher ups, and this seems like a marketing ploy.
Well, in a way, it is a marketing ploy, but you know that the programmers or whoever put this out there knew what was going on, because if you read the Microsoft Windows specifications, one of the specifications is that using the X in the corner means you're closing the window.
Yeah. That
That is stated right in their specifications. And here they make it mean you accept it. Now,
was there in that window, but Sandy, was there a button in there that you could say refuse or no, or was it just
there is a place in the middle of the window, which is in text, with text surrounding it, where you can actually refuse the upgrade.
Okay.
But it doesn't say refuse the up. Can't remember exactly what it said, but it was very vague.
Okay.
And it's in the middle of the window, and most everybody, for like I said, 6 or 7 or 8 months, has been pressing the X button to get rid of this. So they press the X button, and guess what? Windows 10 downloaded and installed for them. Pure trickery by Microsoft. In my opinion, making them not much better than some of the hackers out there. It was just a terrible thing to do. And, these companies are needing us to have some confidence in them. With all the cloud computing things and Microsoft is big into cloud computing, you'd think that they would want to make us more confident in them as a company, so that we use their cloud computing and everything else. And here they do the opposite, just to get more people to upgrade.
Yeah.
You don't know how many people wrote to me about this. And initially, all the people who wrote thought they had done something wrong. And that's why I started to look at it, because I have most of my things upgraded to Windows 10 already. So I thought, why are these people all why are they doing the wrong thing?
Right.
And then I investigated and found out that it was Microsoft that was doing the wrong thing. They didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, it should be pretty clear cut. I mean, people who feel like they know how to use a computer, I mean, the people who are really falling for this are the users who, they assume, just like you said, red X means close, delay means put off indefinitely, that kind of thing, and instead, Microsoft really is using malware style tactics to get people to install their new operating system.
Exactly.
It looks like it said in the window. I'm looking at an image of the window here. It says click here, and here is a link to change upgrade schedule or cancel scheduled upgrade.
That's it. Exactly.
But if you there's the window, you use the X. That's acceptance.
Yep.
I'll tell you what. We're going to take a little break here, and we'll be back. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Sandy Berger is here with us for both hours. We're talking about Microsoft being tricky. We'll continue on right after these words. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf's staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Yeah, at my age, if I'm paying for a stripper, it's the strip paint. Hi, I'm Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Klein Tools Magnetic Wire Pulling System. There seems to always come a time when we have to run an Ethernet cable or a phone cable or a coax cable down the inside of a wall to some connecting point below. The magnetic wire pulling system from Klein Tools stores in a plastic cylinder about the size of a frozen juice concentrate can. Inside, almost 20 feet of nylon cord on a spool with an impressively strong magnet at one end and a cable-holding loop at the other, plus a second magnet with a finger grip. The magnets grab each other through the wall so you can control the path to the opening, then pulling the cord pulls the wiring through. Bottom line, the Klein Tools magnetic wire pulling system makes working inside a wall a ball. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Now, 33 minutes past the hour, as we are here with Sandy Berger, doing up our last half hour. We in the first hour we had a lot of great reviews and talked a lot about a bunch of different products that Sandy had, kind of reviewed over the past month. And now we are on to topics, and topics including Windows 10, Microsoft, and their trickery. Because, just like Sandy said, that Microsoft has this idea that want to say their deadline was like the end of 2017 or 2018, something like that. They wanted Windows 10 on 1 billion devices worldwide. You mentioned that earlier, and currently they're up to like 100,000 or something, or I'm sorry, 100 million or something like that. And they've said themselves that they're well on that track. But as we know, come I want to say the end of August, the free upgrade path goes away, and then you have to pay for it. And that is a problem for Microsoft because they know that their growth is going to slow down immensely. So I don't know if it's the real hard push to get 1 billion devices, or if someone at Microsoft said people are going to like it, we just have to give them that little push, and we're going to do something that that we feel is better. But something happened somewhere in the higher ups of Microsoft that said, change this, this, and this, and start pushing out updates. And Sandy, you mentioned that you had people writing you about accidentally upgrading to Windows 10, which, by the way, the fact that you can accidentally change your operating system is already a problem. Yeah. But has anyone written you about Microsoft downloading and potentially kind of filling up people's hard drives? Because I had that happen to me, where Microsoft downloaded a 3 gigabyte, or it was like a 3 or 6 gig downloader tool that filled up my hard drive, and then that caused me a whole bunch of problems.
I haven't had anybody complain about that in particular. I think probably happened to you a couple years ago, I'm guessing, because most of the new hard drives, new computers have hard drives that the average person doesn't even come close to filling up.
Happened to me last year, and when I tried to upgrade, because I have a 56 gig solid state drive that just for my
okay.
Just for my operating system.
Yeah.
And Microsoft's like, hey, we're going to put it there, and I did not have 6
okay.
gigs.
Well, most people do have enough room, so that has not been an issue. But I have had several people say, I'm going to a Mac just because of this, which I think is maybe not a great idea, but yet that's what I heard. And I had one man went out and bought himself a new Mac and just took his PC over to the recycle center just because of this. Yeah.
That is, I don't get me wrong. I think that's an
It is an overreaction, and yet when you see that the way they did this, it is so flagrantly wrong that I can understand people doing that. And yes, there is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is that Apple does kind of does the same thing, not with their operating system, but for the iOS smartphone device. They have been pushing it like crazy. Like every time I turn on my phone, and admittedly, it's out of laziness, but they have an update for iOS, and they have like 3 options where it's either download it immediately, remind me at a later date, which if you've ever used a PC, it's like, oh, remind me later, and then there's more details, which just kind of tells you what the update is, and if you put remind me later, it has you put in your password, and it just updates it at 4 o'clock in the morning when you're asleep.
Right, yeah. But you know what Apple does? Apple kind of like with an iOS update, they kind of state that that's a security update. And to be more secure, you should have this update. So they're kind of hedging their bet there. Microsoft could do the same thing because Windows 10 is more secure than Windows 7. But they don't do that. They just did this stupid underhanded way of doing it. Now, again, I understand, and I did write an article in my blog, which is why Microsoft needs us to update to Windows 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though they have 300 million people on Windows 10 devices, they need more. There's no other option for them. They've already stated that Windows 10 is going to be the last version of Windows, so they can't go back to making money by charging for Windows operating systems like they did before. They're promoting Windows 10 as a service, a free service in this case anyway. And so what they're hoping is to make money off of ancillary devices and services the way Apple does makes money off their apps and all this. Well, Microsoft, again, has a Windows App Store. They'll make money off the apps. They have the Bing search engine, which has ads. They have the OneDrive storage, and then they get so much storage for free, but for additional storage, you have to pay money. Even Skype has extras, and they've done some crazy things with Skype. I've had a few complaints about that, too, that people have tried to get onto Skype and said that they're starting to charge them for it, when Skype is still free, but the extras they're charging for.
Wow.
So Microsoft has a big investment here, and they really need to make this work. So I can understand why they're doing it. I don't at all agree with the underhanded way they're doing it.
I mean, let's face it. Bottom line, you click on the X in the upper right-hand corner of a window in Windows, and that means close the window.
Exactly.
There's no ambiguity about it. There's nothing there that means and that close the window, and to click on it and have it to, and again that is very much like some of the malware. A little pop-up window comes there.
Exactly.
And you click the window to close it, and that's an acknowledgement to install. It's
right.
Sensible, really.
It's as wrong as wrong can be, and whether it was a marketing person or a programmer or a higher up who made this decision, I think it's as wrong could be.
Has there been any?
Yeah, that's what I went to go do. During the break there was I went to go look for any kind of apology or some kind of discussion from Microsoft about why they changed their policy.
I have not seen anything. Now, this was probably a week ago when I wrote this up and investigated it, and I haven't seen anything from Microsoft. I haven't seen a big uproar. And ZDNet and a lot of the other places have also written the same thing that I've written, some with screenshots showing exactly, and Craig, you just pulled up one of those screenshots, right?
Yeah.
So people have been writing about it. People are mad about it. But I don't see Microsoft doing anything about it.
My experience with this was my wife got that window on her laptop and evidently closed it, and the next day when she turned the computer on, Windows 10 was installed, and I could tell by the way, and I went, whoa! And of course I didn't want. She had stuff, so I went ahead and just took the liberty of saying they did offer an option at the point to restore Windows 7, and I took a little bit of risk. I said do it, and not only did it restore Windows 7, it put back everything the way it was. The desktop.
You took a little bit of a risk? What? No. Well, first of all, Craig, what you opened up was for anyone out there who does not know, the Windows Updater that usually has security fixes and hotfixes and driver updates and things like that. In the background, they've been downloading a Windows Updater tool to your computer, and it's between 3 to 6 gigabytes. And when you launch it, it makes everything look like Windows, but it's essentially in the style of Windows 10, and it's kind of like a wizard, and it more easily guides you to upgrading to Windows 10. So as soon as you take that off, you essentially revert everything, but it stays on your computer, stays in the background, essentially just waiting there like an eager child, ready to install Windows 10 on your computer.
Well, what happened is when I said no, and I did it, it took it about 10 minutes of holding the breath, but when it was finished, it went away, and the Windows 7 was exactly the way she had it before, every last little detail. So,
and I mean, to be fair, even if you install Windows 10 completely, I mean, not just the updater, but if you install it completely, you always have the option to restore it back to all of its Windows 7 glory or Windows 8.1 glory.
No, you don't always have that option. You have that option for 30 days.
Oh, so I don't even. Oh, wow.
Either it's 30 or 31 days. Microsoft makes an old Windows 5 folder on your computer, and you can revert back to Windows 7 for 30 days. But if you're past that, you cannot do it.
I did not know that. I thought it was just as long as you install, from one operating system to the. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't make sense. It's not really fair. I don't think that's very fair either.
Well, at least you can try Windows 10, and the idea there is, well, if you don't like it, you can go back the way it was before.
Right,
So,
and I have reverted back on several machines where they've been using Windows 10 for 2 weeks or something like that, and they say they don't like it, and it has, like your situation, Craig, it has gone back very, very easily and very well.
yeah.
So there's been no problems in getting back to Windows 7. It's just the fact that they're kind of forcing this on people.
Well, so no announcements. So we don't know if the only limitations, and they mention, is that you're running out of time to get the quote unquote free Windows 10.
Right, and I think we'll see a lot more of that. And then when what's the date? July 29th.
Something like that, yeah.
When that comes, then the Get Windows things have to stop because it's not free anymore. At least I hope they stop.
Yeah,
I think that Microsoft has stated that they're not going to use that Get Windows after that date.
And then what will Windows cost?
I don't know. Probably somewhere around $99, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm gonna say about 100 or sub 100.
Yeah,
they
I think I looked it up. They did actually have a price on it already.
And but if you go for the free upgrade, don't you wind up paying something in the long run anyway, or
No.
No.
No, the upgrade is free, and it's always upgraded consistently, constantly, and you don't pay for upgrades, you don't pay for anything. So
what was it that was reading? Something about if you did it, but it was not the true version, or you had to.
If you have a pirated version, then it kind of tells you,
that was the pirated version I'm thinking about. Okay.
Yeah, then this is not a licensed version, and you can't really upgrade to a full Windows 10 account.
Okay.
They do make this product though, just so in case people are really annoyed by it. They have a product called Never 10, and it's a little software, something someone whipped up, and you download it, and has a very simple, one window pane that says Windows 10 operating system is enabled for this. If you'd like to disable, click this one button, and click another button to remove all Windows 10 installer files, and it will remove everything about Windows 10 from your computer, and it will turn off the the parts of the Windows Updater that push Windows 10. So if you never, ever, ever, ever want Windows 10 on that computer, there's a product again called Never 10 that will disable everything about it.
Okay, let me jump in here.
And it sells for $99.
No, but let me jump in here and tell you that I've had several people who have tried to use. There's another Never 10, and there's another one, and they have tried to use those and have totally messed up their operating systems.
Really?
Now, these people have been. I guess there have been 3 or 4 of them that have contacted me, and they've been what I call uninitiated. They've been, 80 or 90-year-old people who maybe did something wrong. Okay, I'll say that. But so that's why since I've had several people get in trouble with those products that try to get rid of the Get Windows 10 things, I don't recommend them at all. I just recommend people who have upgraded automatically without their knowledge or whatever, that they go back, and if they don't do it right away, that's okay. There's still a way to do that. And in my blog, I've actually given instructions under the article that says that Microsoft Windows 10 is trying to trick users. In that article, I've given instructions on how to get rid of instructions on how to get rid of Windows 10 and get back to Windows 7, which is a fairly easy thing to do.
Okay. If you do it within 30 days, though.
If you do it within 30 days, exactly.
All right. Does Microsoft make that readily apparent, or is it?
No. Matter of fact, I didn't know for the first 2 months or 3 months after they came out with Windows 10 that you could revert for 31 days. Or 30 days, I don't know which one it is. But I didn't know that you could do that, and so they have not made it obvious. But what will happen is if you're within your 30 days and you go to Windows Restore, one of the options will be go back to Windows 7 or Windows 8.1, wherever you came from. And if you're past the 30 days, if you're at 40 days or 50 days, that option is removed and it's not there anymore. And Microsoft actually removes the data, the old data from your computer. So even if you're really knowledgeable on how to do it, you can't go back to your old data because it's gone.
Ah, crafty.
That's the thing. That's the thing that got me. That I really don't like Microsoft reaching into the computer and erasing files, even though they made that file, and they could obviously argue for that. That when you upgraded, they made the file, and now it's their right to take it out. I still don't feel real comfortable with them doing that.
Mm. Well, there are.
But I know at least here personally on the show, we've recommended Windows 10 numerous times, and even despite all this, I still would recommend Windows 10 if you go through the settings, really keep a close eye, read what you are actually installing, and treat it like a new operating system. I mean, I really do enjoy my Windows 10 machine. So
let me ask you this, Ben. I'll put you on the spot. Would you recommend it for your mom? Would you tell her to do it? Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. I would recommend it for her because on some machines, and I really do believe the machine that she's on, it's going to run faster than Windows 7, or at least as fast. Like it's not really going to be a hardware compatibility issue. And honestly, the learning curve is really almost none. If you know Windows 7, you essentially know Windows 10 with a couple of nice things. I don't trust the fact that Siri pops up in my task tray, my system tray every 5 minutes. And I don't know what the heck Cortana is doing, but other than that, I like Windows 10.
Well then, why don't I propose that we actually do that? We'll
behind your back. I love it.
No,
it's a wonderful idea.
We'll say, hey, look, we're going to take you up to the Windows 10 because it's going to run smoother than.
All right, you hold her down. I'll install it.
No, I agree with Ben 100%. I think Windows 10 is far superior to Windows 7. Now, people have gotten so used to Windows 7 that they don't want to get off of it. But Windows 10, because you can work in the desktop mode and do everything like you're used to doing before, there's a slight learning curve, but it's not a terrible learning curve. And the one thing that Ben didn't mention is Windows 10 is much more secure than Windows 7. The other thing is it will last longer. If you look at the dates of when Microsoft will stop supporting Windows 7 and Windows 10 is supposed to just keep going on and on. So Windows 10 will actually last you longer if you plan to keep the same computer for years and years.
That too.
Okay. All right. Well, we only have 8 minutes left. Do you want to talk a little bit about Microsoft's push for mixed reality with HoloLens?
Yeah, I do, because that's really, really been interesting. Microsoft, actually, we have to just skip a little bit and talk about virtual reality and augmented reality. And a lot of people might know what that means, the difference, but some people don't, so we'll explain. Virtual reality is when you put on a set of these goggles or whatever, and you're transported to a new reality. Everything is surrounding you, looks like you're someplace where you're not. Augmented reality is where you're in your same reality, but you see something on top of that reality. So you might be sitting at your desk, and augmented reality, you would see your desk, but when an explosion happened, you'd also see a hole in your desk, which isn't there. So in other words, they put things there that haven't been there before. Microsoft's HoloLens, which is their goggles that are coming out sometime this year, I believe, they've been doing a lot of work, and they're putting a ton of money into this. It's part of augmented reality. So they make the reality better in some way, or add something to your reality. But in a recent blog post by Microsoft, they started calling it mixed reality, which I thought was very interesting. It's actually more descriptive than augmented reality. Mixed reality. What do you think?
I think augmented reality, because I've been, kind of hammering that definition in my head for a while, made a lot of sense. But mixed reality, when you think about it, it's, the reality that you see, obviously, the one that you have, that you deal with every day, and then that is mixed with a virtual reality. So, I guess
Right.
someone freshly coming in, it's not just like it's not just augmenting reality, but it's actually mixing the two.
Exactly. So I kind of liked that name. It was the first time I've heard the name, and I think it probably will catch on. But the HoloLens stuff is out there now. They've got people in their development programs that are working with these glasses, and you can go on YouTube. There was one I put in the article on why Microsoft needs to update to Windows 10. I put a link in there to a YouTube video on gardening with the HoloLens. And I thought this was really outstanding because here's the guy who's wearing these HoloLenses, and he's never done any gardening, but he had this bush which was all messy, and he wanted to make it look like a circle. So he put the HoloLens on, he put a circle on top of the bush that he was working with, and he trimmed right around that circle and came out with a perfectly shaped bush.
Okay.
All right, so you watch this YouTube video and you're suddenly going, oh, that's something that actually would be useful. And there's a ton more things that this mixed reality is useful for.
Well, I like it if you're with you. I've seen augmented with your smartphone, and you're walking down the street, and you see all these shops and everything, and you hold up and then you see descriptions of what each door is, what kind of store it is, or if it's a restaurant and what they're serving, the special of the day. You can see all that overlaid onto what you're looking at. I mean, so they have to say that.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a big boom in this. I think we're going to see people being attracted to it for what it can offer them. Terry Myerson, he's the vice president of the Windows and Device Group in Microsoft. If you go to Microsoft's blog, and it's also linked into one of my articles, he's got an article called Opening Windows Holographic to Partners for a New Era of Mixed Reality. So Microsoft is now working with all these different parties to use this media type thing, but they've got on there a holographic image that enables the world of mixed reality, they say. But it's a video that you can watch, and it's pretty outstanding what they can do with this mixed reality.
Okay.
So if you're interested in that, go to Microsoft's blog and take a look at that. It's really amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And again, Microsoft still they want to call it mixed reality as opposed to augmented reality.
That's what I'm seeing. This was the first time that I've seen it. But Myerson said, today we're focused on a new frontier, mixed reality. So he actually changed the name from augmented to mixed. Now maybe he got that from someplace else and I hadn't seen it before, but I like it. I like it because it is the virtual world with the physical world, and it is mixing reality.
It is an interesting video that Ben is showing right now too. So
they've obviously done a couple of tweaks with the glasses themselves too. The hardware looks a little more sleeker and obviously a little more curved, so I guess you can see more in a wider field of view. So. Right.
And this is the what he's showing on the screen right now is the video that Myerson had on his blog website. And it's a girl who's creating a new showcase for her, for another company, but it's quite an eye-opener.
Yeah, they get to see what it's going to look like before, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we're pretty much out of time, Sandy. People want to find out more about what it is you're doing. What's up with you?
Compukiss.com. I've got a lot of new articles on there. I'm concentrating right now on the blog.
All right.
So you can see new articles on my front page, but if you go to Sandy's blog, you'll also see a lot of articles, and you can look at past articles as well. Interesting thing in technology right now. Everything is becoming to me a little bit more fun. Yeah. I'd never thought I would have fun with the router.
Yeah.
As I did with the OnHub. I never thought about having fun with Alexa, or Cortana.
Yeah.
So I think technology is changing as quickly as ever, or maybe faster than ever.
20 seconds.
But it's more fun for people.
There you go. Well, again, Sandy, it's always a pleasure here having you on the show, and we'll catch you next month.
Okay.
And the same time. Please stay with us to the end, okay?
All right.
Coming up tomorrow, we're going to have Fire Dragon Security. They've been on with us before. Sean Gallagher, who is the CEO of Fire Dragon Security, is going to be back with us, talking about what's new in security, and talking a lot about.
He's actually not here to talk about computers at all. He's here to talk about your insecurities, and we're going to do a Dr. Phil style talk show tomorrow. So please call in with what's bothering you.
Sounds good.
And your personal cybersecurity. That's all coming up tomorrow in the first hour, and then the second hour we'll do computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Again, thank you all so much for being here with us, and Ben and I will see you here, same time, same place, same station. We'll see you. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one, everyone.
Say bye, Sandy.
Bye-bye.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, again, everybody, thank you so much for watching our live video stream, and thanks again to you, Sandy, for being here with us, and we'll see you next month with more fun stuff that you always
Sounds
find.
good. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Bye.